being Blossom Community School Corporation School Board. We have kind of a pretty full agenda tonight, so first let the record reflect that Mrs. Jacobs, Mr. Durnall, Mr. DeMoss, and Mr. Kerr are present in person, and that Mr. Tucker is present with us virtually. So are there any visitors tonight? No. Okay. So straight to the Mustang moment, and I'll turn that over to Dr. Sanders.
Yes, so the Mustang moment is something we started several years ago to highlight special things going on in our school corporation. And, you know, sometimes as superintendent, I get to go and participate in some exciting things. Now, sometimes, like last Friday afternoon, that wasn't such a fun day to be superintendent. But when I get to go see JAG competitions and robotics competitions, it's pretty cool. So we, Mr. Ackerman and I went down to French Lick to the Region 8 conference where our JAG students had participated in different types of competitions that morning. And then we were there for the luncheon and the awards. So Jill Ferguson, who is our JAG specialist, is here tonight, and she's going to give us an overview of JAG, and we have a couple students here tonight that hopefully we could talk to. And so Jill, it's all yours.
Okay, this is where you want me?
Yep.
It's been a minute. Okay, so I am Jill Ferguson. I am the JAG specialist here at Edgewood. And what I'm doing right now is part of my GNAP that we do in JAG. We teach our students how to greet, share their name, show their association. And tonight, my purpose is to tell you more about JAG. It stands for Jobs for America's Graduates, and it's a whole lot more than that. It's not just employability skills. It's a whole gamut of different things that really help the kiddos that have potential realize that they have that potential. And so one of the best ways to showcase that was at our regional conference, career development conference. And that was just with 7 other schools, 8 of us total, kids growing. And we were in about, at the beginning, we started with about 12 different categories that we competed in, and where we kind of shook out, because a couple of them were preliminary, we had a couple of kiddos that were competing, not quite make it there. But successfully, we made quite a few, we got quite a few kiddos there, and we walked out with some serious hardware. So, I have my little bag over there, but we came out with 4 first-place winners, and we came out with 2 third-place winners. And so, among all of the different, there we go, this is Vanna. So, the kids that earned these were not able to come tonight because they are working their jobs, or a couple of them, took the opportunity. So we got a couple big first place winners, and we got 3 of these different ones. So the different categories that we competed in were employability skills, where they actually had to write a resume, write a cover letter, do a preliminary interview, and then show up dressed, ready, follow through with that interview, shake the hand at the end, hand over the thank you cards, and compete in that way. Another category, and I'm going to get to hers here in just a second, is we did a brochure competition, and this is one of the ones that we got first place. So out of the entire district, or out of the, well, it's kind of like the district, Region 8. So we got first place on that, we got third place on our commercial, and we got an honorable mention for outstanding senior, which I'm going to give her a chance to talk here in just a second. I think we had one is to create an invitation or something that can also be used as the cover for the state competition, which is coming up in March. And we had a first place winner on that. And then we had 2 other first place winners, and those were one of them is called Creative Solutions, and that is where they are literally handed like a bag of supplies and only certain items with certain amounts, so we ended up with the first place winner there, and so he will be continuing on to state with us in March. And the last first place winner that we had was for financial literacy. And so this young man, Joshua Roberts, he ended up winning that by creating an entire year's budget for his full year after high school. And he had to back it up. It wasn't just, I think I'm gonna spend this much money on each of these. He literally looked up how much his groceries were gonna cost him, how much it was gonna cost him for tuition, how much it was gonna cost him to buy a car, maintain a car, how much his rent was going to be, the entire gamut. So he also won first place and is going to state. So I'm gonna turn it over and I'm gonna let her introduce herself here. And she was for our outstanding senior, and she got an honorable mention, and I want you to just do your thing.
Do my thing.
Do your thing.
Okay. So hello, I am Abigail Spencer. I was in part of the Outstanding Senior competition, which the whole process was a lot, for me at least. So I had to do a full-on application where I had to apply to even be in the competition. And then I had to do an essay all about my life and my goals, what JAG has done for me, what I've learned from it. And then it was the actual going and doing the interview. That was pretty cool. French Lick, I have never been to French Lick, so I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. And just being there and seeing all these other JAG people that are like me, who just have like the same general backgrounds like me, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. And going in and interviewing and like actually trying to like show them like, hey, this is what JAG has done for me. It's not just a little silly program. It's a big deal. So, and like the whole goal at the end was a scholarship that would have covered all your schooling of everything. And so it's a big deal. So, and just, it's just cool. I'm really, it's hard to just wrap it up in one, like 5 simple things. So, can you help me a little bit?
I can help you a whole lot.
Thank you.
She's amazing. She has really blossomed in the last year and a half that I've had her in JAG. And she would have been the kiddo that would have absolutely sat in the back, not talked a word, not said anything to anybody, just kind of a little wallflower. And this year, she has come out, and she is the first person to go up and introduce herself to any of our new students and really get in there and talk to everyone in the class. And so she earned it, but she also was elected for our president for our Career Association, which is our chapter.
Yeah. I was also nominated by my peers to be Student of the Month, JAG Student
For
of the
region.
Month, for Region 8.
So she's earned it.
That was
I'm
pretty,
very proud of
that was
her.
that was a big honor. And back to saying hello to every single new student that comes in. I do that, and then I see them in the hallway, and then I'm like, hi, it's me. And they're like, oh, hello. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I get a feel for people that come into JAG, the ones who have been here last year, the ones who are coming in now. I just get a feel and see their potential. Because this is my last year. I am a senior, but she's gonna be fine. I'm not worried. But yeah,
Do you all have any questions for her?
please, I have maybe an answer. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, yeah,
It's really
I'm happy to be here. Yeah, get that heavy stuff,
Get the heavy hardware.
get the muscles going.
Seeing a senior get up and talk in front of adults, it's not easy. You did a very
Yeah,
good job.
no. You told junior me that I was gonna be doing this. I'd laugh at you.
How would freshman be have thought?
I'd be like, Yeah,
Nice job.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Congratulations.
Now, when I first got to RBB, I remember going out to to Steinsville to watch a robotics competition. I'd never been to a robotics competition. And I thought, man, this is really cool. And of course, we were doing really well at the elementary level at that time, but we didn't have a junior high team, and we certainly didn't have a high school team. And, so immediately, that was kind of one of my visions as superintendent, was to one day see a robotics team at the high school and see them in competition. Because at the elementary and junior high levels, it's a challenge, but when you get to the high school level, it's like robotics on steroids. And so it was, I really had to go see this competition of our team, our robotics team. They were at Zionsville High School, and they just looked like old pros, like they'd been doing it for years. But I also know that they learned a lot that day by watching the other teams, and it's going to cost us some money. But it's all worth it. So, Mr. O'Reilly, thank you to Mr. O'Reilly for being here tonight and his team, and turn it over to them.
All right.
You gotta do your GNAP.
What's that?
You need to do your GNAP.
Okay, yes, I'm not familiar with all the lingo, but yeah, my name's John O'Reilly. I teach physics and engineering at the high school here. And yeah, this is our second year of having kind of an actual robotics setup with students coming and learning about how to set up robots and make them work. And we are very lucky to have some folks come up from the junior high that have previous robotics experience, Sydney and Logan. And as Dr. Sanders said, the junior, how would you describe the difference between the junior high and the high school robotics, or the robots themselves?
It's a big change moving from the junior high to the high school robotics, because in the middle school, it's about working together and putting the pieces together with like little plastic stuff and like just easily able to make the changes and work together, find the best strategies with the team. But when it comes to high school robotics, it gets a little more tricky, because then you start working with metal and you have a lot more requirements for your things to score points. And at that point, it's not just working with teammates, but working against the other team. At the junior high, you have 2 people on the field, and you work together to get as many points as possible. But once you get to the high school level, it's 4 people on the field. 1 is your teammate, 2 are your opponents. And you have to work together to get as many points as possible, while also getting the points away from the other team. So it's a big change. Especially once you've been doing the middle school and the elementary school for a long time, you get used to that. And then it's a big jump, because you got to work with the metal and screwing stuff in, and it's no longer the easy Lego type stuff. It's just a lot different.
It was a big learning curve, I could tell for sure when they came in. Like she mentioned, they're kind of, the junior highs, they're very fancy Lego pieces, but yet they kind of click together very neatly. These require a lot more, I think, kind of forethought and how you're going to put them together, and just watching them learn as we went along how to put this stuff together and make it work and troubleshoot and all that. I think another thing that's pretty amazing is, again, this is our first year competing at the high school. And yeah, it was a major learning experience for me. And when we got there, it was definitely, well, I can say it, humbling, I think, when we saw a lot of the robots that were there. And yes, it is probably going to cost a little bit more money to get where we would like to be. But I think, without too much more input, we're going to really, next year, be able to really compete at a much higher level with just a few more motors, a few more pneumatics, and so all that stuff's on its way. And I think it's arriving, we're having a bunch of it arrive tomorrow or the next day, which we're very excited about, kind of, yeah.
Can you show how it works?
All right, Logan.
Is it ready?
I gotta turn it on.
So yeah, this year's competition, as Sydney said, has, I mean, the rule book, I think, is like 48 pages. It's kind of amazing. And, but essentially, you know, you have to get these little green tri-balls to one side of the field under a net, and there's, you know, a huge variety of ways that you can score points. But they had to come up with ways to not only get them under the net, but also try and launch them over kind of an obstacle in the middle, and
And the field's huge.
Yeah.
It's much bigger than the junior high field.
so, yeah, I don't know, did you, because I know they messed around with their code on last Wednesday or whenever that was. Yeah, well, it's worth a shot. Why don't you give it a, is it
Oh,
gonna
the
drive?
remote didn't turn on.
Uh-oh. Oh, it doesn't want to connect. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, careful.
Dude, oh, never on a table.
Yeah, that's right, never on a table.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it down, we can
Okay.
drive it around.
Much prefer that.
There you go.
I don't think
The launcher might not be quick. Give it a shot.
no, because of the shaft power, it's currently blocking the way into the motor, so it's not gonna be able to.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah.
And some of the teams really get aggressive. I don't know if it was, I'm sure it was on purpose, but I'll give them credit and say maybe it was on accident. But I saw one of the robots really bang into the other one and knock it off its wheels, and you know, to try to keep them from scoring. And I told the students that Saturday that, you know, they are pioneers at Edgewood High School, and someday they're going to come back and they're going to see just championship robotics teams, and they will know and be able to tell their kids that they were the ones who got it all started. So I do want to thank all of our students for being here today because it's their day off. So thank you for coming in. So, any questions?
What kind of things are you looking for that, you know, that we could do to help with the robotics club?
So currently the robotics team is very small, and as we continue to grow, as I expect we will, just kind of just seeing where we go and helping along the way, as in the parts or competitions, just stuff along those ways. As we probably won't grow big, like that. We probably will grow big, but not very fast. But just as we grow, just kind of seeing, growing alongside it as well.
How many team members did you have this year?
This year, I think we had 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had 6 with one coming and going at times.
and their freshman team, and, you know, like we said, the middle school robotics is definitely a different level. And
Yeah.
so,
We got quite a few coming up next year.
yeah, and so they're gonna be big, wise students next year. They're gonna help, form just a bigger and better team, I think, every year.
So are you gonna keep it as like a freshman team, sophomore team? Is that what your goals are, or just gonna be one big team no matter
Yeah.
age
It's
group?
kind of seeing how the people work together, because
Okay.
some of the freshmen will work really good together, and they'll be able to come up with the ideas and bounce them off each other. But some people might want to lead more or follow more. So really, it's about the grades, the experience, and the ability to work together. So you might want to have some of the freshmen pair up with the older people, so they know what's going on and how to learn. Otherwise, they'll have to learn for themselves, and it might take a bit longer. So it's really all about balance between all the teams.
So where can I get a shirt like that? That's pretty cool. You have a question?
I also want to give a shout out to Mr. O'Reilly and all of our teachers that devote their time outside of the school day to students like this. I was talking to Mr. O'Reilly that day, and his son, right, was on a college visit. And so Mr. O'Reilly, though, was with the robotics team. And so I really appreciate the dedication and sacrifices they make.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you all so much, and we're so impressed with your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, well, that was really cool. Probably just stop right there and call it a night. All right, we'll move on, though. Next is our consent agenda. So we have the approval of minutes. That would be for January 8th, the organizational meeting, the finance meeting of January 16th, and also the regular school board meeting of January 16th. For financial, there's the treasurer's report for January of 2024. And Mr. Durnall, the claims, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. For gross wages on January the 5th, 2024, is $691,950.10. Gross wages mini payroll on January the 6th, 2024, $6,245.28. For gross wages mini payroll January 18th, 2024, $2,302.90. Gross wages on 1/19/2024 for $747,449.59 for a grand total in that area of $1,444,947.87. For vouchers and prepays from January 1st, 2024 to January the 31st, 2024, $927,932.42. For claims and regular vouchers on February 19th, 2024, $355,899.62, for a total of $4,283,832.04, for a grand total of $5,731,779.91.
Thank you, Mr. Durnall. Next, we have personnel. Personnel resignation, retirements, non-renewals, leaves, and terminations, C1 through 23. We'll come back to Dr. Sanderson in a minute. And there's also personnel appointments and transfers, D1 through 29. And then we also have donations this evening. There's online donations, $1,041.50 to the Lunch Angel Fund. Wonderful. $116.07 to Meals for Shields. Online donation of $19.27 to the Student Assistance Fund, and an online donation of $140.49 to ECA donations. And Dr. Sanders, would you like to say a word?
Yes, so I'd like to recognize Lori Stevens, who the board will be voting for her retirement at the end of this school year. Lori's been in education for over 29 years. She is just a great fourth grade teacher, and being a fourth grade teacher myself, they hold a special place in my heart. So we will miss Lori, but she definitely deserves a great retirement.
Lori was actually my daughter's teacher when we first moved our kids here to Edgewood, and she always asks about Aniston, asks how she's doing, and she always asks about Lori and how they're doing, and they still stay in contact, and so I always thank her for making that a special start for my kids.
My younger son was in her first fourth grade class down at the old elementary school, so, and she always asks about Garrison.
She's amazing. I know that she's helped mentor some other teachers as well.
Yep.
So always there to be a support. So she's definitely going to be missed. Okay, so do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, with Mr. Tucker being present virtually, we will need to do a roll call vote per our policies. And so we'll start with the motions for approval. We'll start with Mrs. Jacobs,
Yes.
Mr. Durno.
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
and Mr. Kerr is yes as well. Motion passes. Okay. Next up is the Assistant Superintendent's report, so go to Mr. Irwin.
All right. So you guys should have the cash flows there in front of you. A couple of the major differences in the education fund was updating our SPED grant numbers. Really, they were relatively flat. They went down a little bit, but relatively flat. The other big one is just the change in tuition support has to do with ADM. So in past years, and I'm trying not to steal Dr. Sanders' thunder for later talking about enrollment as far as some of the trends, but in typical trends of our fall to spring ADM, it typically goes down when we have midterm graduates or kids moving on throughout the year. And so we've only had 1 year in the last 7 to 8 where we've actually gained students from fall to spring. And so this year we actually did gain students from fall to spring. And so that was a good thing. That was a huge difference when you look at the cash flows as far as going from losing kids and then reconciling us down from March through June instead of reconciling us up because of a higher count. So that makes up a big difference in the cash flows in the education fund. Expenses were very, very accurate as that goes. But that's the biggest difference, that when you look at the year-end cash flows, that on that projecting number, that's the difference. So debt service fund, we got our TAW in place. Again, kind of what I told you before, the TAW is a little bit smaller than what we should have based on not having some of those December settlement stuff that we thought, based on some confusion with the DOGF. It doesn't hurt us, even though that's sitting in the red. We have the cash flows to cover that. We made all our scheduled debt payments. All that went out fine, all to our trustee banks, so that those bondholders could be paid out. And so all of that went well. So debt service is relatively the same.
TAW is a tax anticipation warrant.
Yeah.
So you're waiting to get your funding from the property taxes, and it doesn't always coincide with when you need to make payments. So that's what the tax anticipation warrant is for.
Yeah, and as old debts fall off and the new debts come on, we'll structure those as far as the terming of when those payments come in, just so we're not fronting that money on those payments, which in future years just lessens our need to do TAW. So over time, you'll see that fluctuate a little bit, but hopefully gradually decline. But for the time being, until some of those older bonds roll off that have that January, July payment, it kind of puts us in that place that we have to do that. So, but yeah. Operations fund, that stayed really, I mean, it's not much different at all. Everything rolled in really accurate. We did pay the property casualty insurance, which is why the claims in January are much higher than what you see in the projections for those other months. Some of the other months where you see some of those higher numbers, that's when we're paying a lot of different like renewals, or maybe the buses come in, or some of those places try to project out kind of typically about the timing of when those things happens. And so you'll see those claim numbers jump around a little bit throughout the year. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Yep.
Next is the recognition of the Edgewood Early Childhood Center's Paths to Quality Level 4
Yes.
rating. So
Yes,
Dr. Sanders.
very exciting news. Looking from the public, from the community, and seeing the transformation of our preschool from when it was out on 46 to the progress they made while they were visitors, so to speak, in EPS, and now having their own place, and of course seeing on the back wall there the construction of their own standalone building in a couple years. People might not quite understand that there's been a lot more going on than just building a new facility. The quality of our preschool, which means the quality of the staff, the people here representing the ECC, there's a lot that's been happening in terms of growing and providing a better, higher quality education for our preschool students. And so I was very, very excited when Heather Kensick called and said that we made it to level 4. It's taken a lot of work. So I've asked Heather to come and speak to that tonight, and she can introduce her staff.
So some of the staff here was here when EECC started the paths to quality process several years ago, starting with that level 1, and have stuck with us as we've moved up through the process. And this is a big achievement too, because as Dr. Sanders was saying, we've moved from the old building to EPS into the new building, and that was a lot of work and turmoil for the staff to go through, packing up all of their classrooms and moving to new places every year for a couple of years. So even through all of that, and through the COVID years, they continued to move forward with that process and improving the quality of the early childhood education that they're providing to the students in their care. And we're really, really proud of the hard work that they've done. Paths to Quality is Indiana's rating system for early childhood, and level 1 kind of focuses on just that health and safety, making sure that those health and safety needs are met. Level 2 is focusing on that environmental piece and making sure that the environment is appropriate for kids. And then level 3 focuses on that curriculum and instruction. And that's been a huge area of growth for our staff and our program over the last few years. And level 4 is national accreditation. So when we received that national accreditation back in January, that allowed us to apply for Paths to Quality level 4. So our Indiana representative was able to come and say, yes, we are happy to move you on to level 4. So we're really excited about that. Do you guys have any questions about that?
Is just applying for the national accreditation that went from 3 to 4, or are there other requirements as well?
To be level 4, you have to be nationally accredited, plus meet all of the levels 1 through 3. So there wasn't anything else that we had to do besides everything we did for the national accreditation, but they still had to come and check off everything and make sure that we were still meeting all of the previous requirements that they had.
Quite a big deal.
What are some other ways of?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Hey, congrats on the level 4 rating, but I wanted to backtrack just a few years ago when I first came on the board, Dr. Sanders. I had no idea what all this was, but I remember Mr. Wooden did a good job back in the day explaining all the criteria, and kudos to him and for passing the torch to Ms. Kinzick, and hopefully we'll continue to grow our preschool. It's exciting.
So how will this help our students?
Being Paths to Quality 3 and 4 and having that national accreditation just ensures that we are just meeting that high quality of education that we're providing to students, making sure that we're providing a good quality curriculum, lots of learning experiences, and helping to prepare them for kindergarten and for life beyond school as well.
Is there any other funding that's available if you're level 4?
Yes, so our kids who qualify for CCDF vouchers and On My Way Pre-K, we get reimbursement from the state for those students, and level 4 is a slightly higher reimbursement rate than level 3 was. So we'll get a little bit more funding for students who qualify for that.
Are you excited about the new building?
Very excited about the new building, yes.
Or are you?
We're
don't
really
wanna move
excited to be
again?
able to offer our services to all of the kids who want to come and be able to help more families in our community.
This time they're moving into something with permanency,
There you
so
go.
maybe
Yes.
that'll ease it.
So that'll be the last time. You want to introduce everybody?
Yeah, we have Kim Ford, Callie Belcher, Maggie Burks, Sabrina Isom, Amber Harrison, and Shannon Crum. Thank you.
So happy for all of you and what you've done for these students, and, just to remind people, there's approximately 100 students at preschool, and this new building will house 200, and when we had the 100, or had 100 in school, we have had over 100 on the wait list wanting to get in. So this is definitely needed, and I think a lot of that wait list is because, and the ones attending are because you guys are so good at what you do, and so we really appreciate you very much.
Plus, we'll have a daycare
Yes.
for the children of our teachers, staff.
That's big. That's huge for a lot of people. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you could come.
Thanks, good job. And you really don't have to stay for my report.
He was, yeah.
I was joking.
What an awesome group of teachers. Next is we have our Jennifer Barrett, our Director of Teaching, Learning, and Ready Schools. Give us a report tonight.
Hello. They were smart. They got out before I gave my update. I'm always told to keep it under 10 minutes by Robin, so I'll do my very best tonight. Okay. Pass these down so you guys have a copy of those. Thank you. Yeah. I have to tell you, I'm coming off of a little bit of a high today. So as you know, we didn't have students in the building. Today was one of our labor days. And I'm just so proud of our administration and everything that they planned with our teachers, the work that our teachers put into this day. I wish that you could have walked through the buildings and you could have heard the conversations that were happening. Starting all the way down, not only what Heather did with her staff today at ECC, at EPS, we had an awesome conversation just digging deeper into Reveal Math and math interventions, which, if you know my background, math is my jam. I could talk about it all day long. So we had a great time at EPS today digging into that. EIS got into a discipline matrix and a decision matrix with their staff today. EJHS dug into HRS level 1 with their staff even deeper than what they had before. EHS slammed it out of the park with MTSS, workshop with Mr. Key and Mr. Ackerman. And then when they weren't involved in that, they actually had Bill Reed coming in from, Bill used to be a math instructor and then worked at the DOE for a while, and now he works as a consultant for incumbency in education. Does a lot of work now with PSAT and SAT, and came in and spoke with our high school staff talking about how PSAT and SAT can and should be woven through their entire curriculum, no matter what they teach, and that the SAT is something that is not just for those kids that are looking for enrollment after high school, but truly those kids that are looking at enrollment, looking at enlistment, and also looking at employment. So today was just a celebration day across the district in terms of learning. We all say as teachers that we are continuing to learn in every way, every day. But today was one of those days that I just felt like, man, we did ourselves proud today, and I think we're going to come back in as even stronger teachers tomorrow. So I'm on my high today. So I'm going to just kind of go through and give you some highlights of some of the things that are going on in the teaching, learning, and Ready Schools world. We'll start off with Ready Schools. It's an area that I have a ton of fun in. When somebody asks me how my new role is going, I tell them that I'm like a kid in a candy store most days, and that this is probably the most fun I've had in education in a really long time. The internship process has been a lot of fun over at EHS. We are ankles deep, now knee deep in this. Basically what we're doing is we are turning this process on its head. We're no longer saying to students, come to us in the fall with an idea of who you want to intern for. We're now reaching out for those strong industry partners, those business leaders, those people in our community that can allow our kids to continue to learn outside and off of our campus. So we are actually building that list of internships for our students for next year. Matt Wadsworth is going to be taking that role over next year, and so he and I are working hand in hand. Dirk has been joining us in on a lot of those planning sessions, and we have our first internship fair scheduled at EHS on April 24th, where our kids will be coming in that day who are signed up for internship in the fall. With a resume in hand, they'll be meeting all of these business leaders and introducing themselves, talking through maybe some qualities that they could add for that business owner out there, and hopefully we can find some great matches for our kids. So it's exciting, some of the pieces that we're doing there. You'll also see that we're up to 15 pathways, next level pathways, starting in the 24-25 school year. I can give you an old copy. It does not have computer science on it, but we are up to 15, including computer science. We cannot take on anything else for next year. Mr. Ackerman has shut the door. Mrs. Winkler said no more. And we are finishing up all of the class signups this week. So by early next week, Mr. Ackerman and I are hoping that we start to see numbers tied to all of these classes, because we are beyond amped to see how many kids are winding up in these principals classes and starting to just try their hand at some career fields that they're possibly interested in. ILC Designs and EJHS Design Lab, our websites are up and running. We are officially up for business. And man, oh man, we have sales coming in and orders coming in left and right. It's been super exciting to see all of that happen. If you walk into the ILC or EJHS Design Lab, you will see those machines going pretty much all the time, with students just coming and going from period to period, just continuing to pick up on one project where another student left right off. So it's been pretty awesome to see that coming together. The print shop, our embroidery and screen printing, is going to be moving into the old Edge space. Precious Plastics was just delivered last Friday. This is our equipment that allows us to collect plastic from the community. What we're hoping is that our little guys down at EECC can use this as a hands-on activity to actually sort the plastic by colors. Then that goes into the hands of our little guys at EPS to do all of the shredding, which will be at the makerspace down there. And then all of those little pieces come on up to the high school, and the high school students do the heavy work, the little bit more dangerous work of melting that plastic down into molds, so that then we can take that material and bring it right back down into the hands of all these guys so they can use it in the maker spaces, the design labs, and use that as a recyclable material for jewelry or keychains, whatever the kids decide to come up with and whatever they want to use. So Precious Plastics is here, and we are super pumped about how this is going to impact our kids so they can see that whole cycle and how it works. Coffee Corral is expanding to EJHS, EIS, and EPS. I know, right? So basically what's happening is Miss Bliss, who oversees our Coffee Corral, is now a full-time employee here at RBB. And so it allows her to not only be able to do those nighttime activities, so she might be running the all-nighter that we have coming up on Friday night until 3 o'clock in the morning. She may be overseeing students for a basketball game, and in addition to that, she may be seen running over to EJHS at 7 o'clock in the morning to make sure the coffee's ready to go and nice and hot for the teachers coming in. And those teachers will have an opportunity to buy a subscription pass to what we are able to serve all the high school teachers at the Coffee Corral. So that's coming up here in the next couple of months. We're going to give it a trial run at the end of this semester, see how it goes, and then truly take it up and get it up running in fall of '24.
What kind of coffee do the kindergartners like?
That's a great question. We should definitely ask the people over here what coffee she would like her first graders to try on Tuesday morning.
Don't give it to my kindergartner, please.
Yes. So we know that those teachers need the caffeine, and a lot of times on prep time they're running, either down to the gas station for Polar Pops or to the Keurig and the workstation. So the goal is that Coffee Corral also will have soda fountains here for our teachers in the near future. So it's just continuing to grow, and we're listening to our customers and our kids. Oh my goodness, the ideas are grand. So this is just a tiny drop in the bucket of all the things the kids are wanting to do. Curriculum and instruction side of things, we have a big push for a full implementation of Reveal Math by the end of this year. You may wonder why in the world is it taking a full year to implement a new math series? Believe it or not, it's hard. When you are taking on a brand new series, it's a lot of work. When you are not only just a mind shift as far as implementation goes, but just finding all of the resources. You're given a buffet and you just can't eat it all at once. And so we're spending time with grade levels and in schools and with individual teachers, continuing to provide that support with the goal that by the time we pick it up in 24, 25, it's a lot more comfortable in terms of teaching it in front of kids. We also have a big ELA adoption coming up. We do it big here at RBB. We don't just have a math adoption one year, we follow it up with a reading adoption the next year. It's time. Brenda said it perfectly when she said we've had wonders now for 12 years or so at EPS. And it also goes that when you teach the same resource over and over and over multiple years in a row, you kind of get tired of it. And so not only is it not necessarily meeting our needs, but our needs have shifted with science of reading and that implementation in pre-K all the way up through 5th grade. So we were just approved for EIS, Literacy Cadre Cohort 3. This is in addition to Cohort 2 that we already have at EPS. So this is another grant coming down from the state to allow us to continue to expand the work that EPS has already started up into 3rd grade, because we know that that still is a grade that kids are learning how to read. So all of those pieces that EPS has shined the light on and is leading the way with, we're now going to continue up into EIS as well. March 19th is going to be our kickoff for our K-12 literacy team. That day is going to be right in here. We have about 40 educators coming from across the district, and we are going to be working on reading instruction. Mary would love it if you're free that day. Come on by. It is going to be a deep, deep dive that day, and I'm really looking forward to providing that for our teachers. We also, Rick and I are going to be doing a review process of our curriculum documents. It's probably going to head into the summer, we realize that, but our goal is that we have a really true picture of what we're using across our entire district, and we're able to monitor that and keep that in one space so that we can make sure that updates are made on a regular basis and have that transparency with any of our stakeholders. In addition to all of this, we are revamping our alternative education at EHS, so the EDGE. Huge kudos to the EHS admin, specifically Jordan Key has been working on this. He has some experience in this field. They have worked tirelessly with Regina Burns, and we now are up to 17 students in the EDGE program. We had several graduate here in the last semester. Dirk would have to give me the exact number, but we are seeing them line up for graduation left and right, which is exactly what we want to see. And what's exciting about this change with Alt Ed here at EHS is that we are providing multiple options for kids to be able to get these credits. Some are full-time, right here at the EDGE, just like we've always had that traditional model. Some are now going part-time, and they're spending some of their day over at Hoosier Hills, which is a new option for them. Some kids, we understand, they have to work a part-time and in some cases a full-time job. And so they're coming to school part-time and they're working part-time, 40 hours a week. In addition, we've given 2 or 3 kids the option of going virtual. And so they're getting their assignments done and their credits in that way. So it's exciting to see these doors open for kids in a way that they might have dropped out, or they might have gone a homeschool option, and instead EHS is saying, stay here and let's design this around what you need. Moving on the back page, our teacher evaluation overhaul. We will have a new teacher evaluation model in place for the 24-25 school year. We're working with a team of teachers across the district. Our goal with this is to really align all of our district initiatives. When we talk about high reliability schools, when we talk about an instructional framework, when we talk about a teacher evaluation plan, all of these pieces have to be hand in hand. We don't want to get into a position where teachers feel like there's more on their plate And if we can consolidate those pieces so that we're all heading in the same direction and have the same bullseye mark that we're trying to hit, that's our goal here with all of that. We also want to make sure that we have a rubric in there that truly evaluates our Edgewood teachers and gives them an opportunity to be a part of that plan and really emphasizes their own instructional growth. You know, I started this by talking about just celebrating what happened just today. And this is something that we want to be able to celebrate with our teachers over the course of the year. We also are doing a high ability program review. It's something I know, Dana, it's like, holy cow, what else is going on? We're also taking a look at our high ability programming across the district. It hasn't been done since 2016. It was more than time to take a look at it. The two consultants who will be in working with our district on that are coming in the next couple of weeks to interview teachers and administrators, and then they'll do all the work on the outside and just basically bring us recommendations and say, here's what you're doing great, here are some areas where you can improve, with the goal of having a new guidance document in place for next year. Finally, the high reliability schools. We just took our last team of administrators, coaches, and a couple of board members with us to San Antonio at the end of January for an HRS summit. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. This is a process that we believe in fully. We've talked about many times that we want to just embed this so deeply within Edgewood culture that when we all say goodbye and we move on, that it's still a piece, not just a piece. It's how we educate kids here at Edgewood and how we're preparing kids for the next piece after school. So we're continuing. Dr. Sanders, Mr. Irwin, Mrs. Anderson, and I meet monthly with each building, their admin team, and in some cases their key leadership members. We talk about all things HRS and even more outside of those windows, and I'm just going to give you a few highlights here because I can't brag on these teams enough. EPS, some things that they're working on is a shared drive for staff information. They have some huge celebrations in their building because their scores are incredibly high for level 1 in terms of safe and orderly environment, collaborative culture. So they have a lot of prove what you're doing right and not necessarily a lot of improve upon what you're doing. At EIS, like I shared, Andy and Katie were working today with their staff on a discipline matrix, a decision matrix. Both of these are just to give transparency so that everybody in the building understands why we make the decisions that we make, who's making those, and gives everybody input into how those pieces move forward. In addition, they have a new teacher walkthrough procedure to ensure that they are in classrooms every single day and making sure that they're monitoring what's happening with instruction and providing feedback to our teachers. That's important. At EJHS, again, they're working on a decision matrix. They just started a level 1 deep dive with their staff today. It was awesome, the information that they are getting from their teachers in terms of really looking at those individual indicators and where teachers feel like they are. Mr. Siglin has also started a discipline review team. One thing that the teacher said is, hey, we want to understand why discipline is given or why it's not given or how it's given. And so he said, great, let's do that. And so he started a review team and they meet and he changes those teachers out every week so that he can provide feedback and just kind of let them know, and they can do the same and provide feedback to the administration. EHS, one thing that Mr. Ackerman through this process has recognized, he said, I really want to get more of a personal connection to parents, and you probably understand you're going to get a lot of that from Brenda or from Heather or from Andy at those elementary and those preschool levels, but how often do you see that coming from your high school principal? And so that's one area that Dirk said, you know, I'm going to change that, and that's one thing that I want to start doing is I want to communicate to those parents more regularly and make it more personal. So he's going to be working on that, as well as they have a suggestion box up for their staff so that they're getting just feedback from them on a regular basis. Yeah.
So what do you do with your spare time?
Chase a 3-year-old walking around, and 2 high school kiddos that keep me busy like no other. I'm covered in Elmer's glue because we had a project going before I came, and I'm still wiggling my fingers around trying to get it all off. But I can't say enough, this is not just work that I do every day. This is work that I just get the opportunity to highlight because this is truly work that our teachers are doing. This is work that our administrators are doing. I just get the added bonus of seeing it K through 12 and providing feedback in terms of, hey, this is going really well in this area. Have you thought about this? So I can't say that this is, this is all on my shoulders. It's certainly not.
I always give my new administrators a Rome wasn't built in a day speech, but Jennifer may be just getting that done. She might be building Rome in a day.
It's pretty awesome. I don't think I've ever been so proud to be an Edgewood employee, but even more so just hearing some of the things tonight, to be an Edgewood parent probably means more to me than anything else because, when EECC was honored tonight, Miss Amber is sitting there. She loves on my little boy 2 times a day. And he talks about Miss Amber like she's just the best thing in the entire world. These are incredible people that we meet and just get the pleasure of being with every day. I mean, you saw these kids come up here tonight. You saw the tears in Mrs. Ferguson's eyes, and you just pride in what we all do day in and day out.
Jennifer's right, though. It is a team effort. And that's what does my heart good is my vision of bringing together the team we have at the central office now with Matt, Jennifer Anderson, and Jennifer Barrett. All this is getting done because we have great administrators in the building, and we are able to help them. They have so much to do in a given day that we're making progress because somebody is actually doing things and helping them and supporting them to make these things happen in the buildings. And so we have a great team, administrative team here at Edgewood Schools.
Very much. It's, if you're ancient like me, you think of teaching like Mrs. Biddle or Laura Ingalls, kind of teaching. It is so far away from that. It's definitely a science profession, so technically advanced, and I used to understand what Tish was saying when we talked. But now it's to the point where if she looks like it's something good, then I'll smile and nod, and if she looks like it's not so good, I'll frown and nod. So just trying to keep it in there, but it is amazing what our teachers and our administrators, our people are doing to just better our corporation. Now sitting here thinking too, with all that's going on tonight, I wonder how many other school board meetings go the way ours do. This is, because it's awesome. We're so proud of the corporation. So we think.
And I'm sure Jimmy would agree, but the group that went to San Antonio for the High Reliability Conference, I was so proud of RBB's group, and I learned a lot, and I told Dirk before the meeting that I wish I knew some of the stuff that I learned during these sessions while I was still teaching, but the quality of people that we sent down there and their knowledge was so above mine that I was just kind of, oh boy, our kids they are going to benefit for the coming years. And I'm just proud of Edgewood, I'm proud of RBB, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of the whole group, and it's just, it was amazing.
Awesome. I think that was 9 minutes, 59 seconds, so anyway. We'll go with that.
I'm super excited to, we've been working on a special project with Christine that I'm hoping to bring to you next month. So I'm just going to leave you hanging on that because it's a surprise and delight moment for some of our teachers, and we're hoping, and our students, of course. But we'll share more with you next board meeting on our students' next big dream and hopefully being able to make it come true. So, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, back to business. That was all business, but to
You
the
know,
regular agenda items
We
now.
spent an hour talking about programs our students are involved in and great things happening across our school corporation. A whole hour talking about that.
Pretty awesome place to be. Okay, our next agenda item is consideration to approve a facility use agreement with the Boys and Girls Club. Mr. Irwin.
Yes, I'll say a little bit about this, and then Jeff Baldwin, the executive director for the Boys and Girls Club, is here to speak a little bit on behalf of the Boys and Girls Club. But this is something that we've been working towards for a little while now, and so it's nice to see this come into fruition. They're a great partner for us, and they've been a great partner for us for quite some time. And so this allows us to put together a more long-term agreement for our auxiliary building on 46 and for their use of it, just so they can continue to serve our kids in our community. A great example of this is what happened last Friday with the weather coming in, and we had to make some quick on-the-spot decisions. I'm making phone calls with Jeff Baldwin, asking if the club can be open an hour earlier to receive our kids on pretty short notice, and they make a way to make it work. And that's a huge resource to our parents and our community. We have quite a number of kids that go out there, and so that's just a testament as to some of the things that they've done for us over the years, whether it's the stuff that's happened through COVID and the programs that they put in place for our kids. We had an opportunity to go to luncheon where they were highlighting some of the things that the club was doing, and just the heartfelt mission. You know, a lot of these people, when you think about why people get an education, they love kids, they love serving families, and that's what they're helping us do. And so this agreement outlines the parameters of use for the building, the things that the school corporation is still responsible for, the things that the Boys and Girls Club would be responsible for as far as general upkeep and those items. And it's something that we worked through with Ferguson Law, with Mr. Baldwin, his board, and obviously the school board here, just to say what is a great partnership for that continued use of that building to continue to serve our kids and the kids in our community. So, Mr. Baldwin, I'll let you say anything that you would like to say about the agreement. And then we'll let them go. So I'm asking for your approval of this facility use agreement with the Boys and Girls Club.
Can you just give us a short understanding of all the things you do for our students?
Sure. Yep. So, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm very excited about this agreement tonight. This is huge for us. So the Boys and Girls Club serves kids, in particular, those kids who need us most. We see that ever-increasing number of kids for $20 a year, the membership. So it's obviously a very low barrier. There's no child that shouldn't be participating in what it is that we're doing. Come to the Boys and Girls Club whenever the schools are closed. So that's going to be through break time, through summer, and of course the mainstay is the after-school program until 7 p.m. They're provided a snack, tutoring. Tutoring has continued, that program continues to grow and evolve and become more and more effective in our program. Things like chess club, cooking club, hip-hop dance, etc. A whole variety of things that are offered besides just the academic support that we're providing kids as well. So honored to be a part of the partnership with your school system and serving your kids in what is really in a very significant and important way.
Very much so. Oh my gosh. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded and third. Any questions?
No, sorry.
You're all right. I'm teasing you. Any questions or concerns or anything?
No.
No? Okay. Well, roll call vote. Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durham?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
I'm not for sure yet. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I'll say yes. Congrats, Jeff. I'm excited about this.
Good. We'll take that as yes. And Mr. Kerr is a yes as well. So congratulations with this agreement. And this, we benefit so much. Our kids benefit so much from your programming.
Appreciate it, yes.
And we really appreciate you and your leadership and guidance to them and all the wonderful things that you do.
My pleasure and honor. Club opened in 2009, and I heard talk about moving. We've moved 4 times, and the thought of having a permanent home for well beyond my time with the Boys and Girls Club is an immense, important gift of security for our organization. We can't thank you enough for that. Also, I just wanted to note, a lot of eyes were on the State House when that bill was passed that allowed this to give school systems the comfort to move down this pathway. And numerous clubs throughout the state, I know, are aware of that and will likely take advantage of that legislation. So very excited and honored to be a part of the partnership that we work together to make that happen. So
It's not only security for you, it's security for our students too, knowing that you'll be there. So we just greatly appreciate you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Let's see, next is consideration to approve the United Way annual report. Dr. Sanders?
All right, so we love receiving funds from anybody, but especially United Way. They provide funds that will go towards our Student Assistance Fund, and that helps students in a variety of ways. And a lot of those funds come from our own staff here in our Edgewood schools who contribute to United Way, and from the community, so it's a combined effort. And we are required to submit a report every year and to have that report approved by the school board. So I'll just ask for your approval tonight.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none. Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durnall?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
And Mr. Kerr is yes as well. So the annual report is approved. Permission to surplus ice flaker machines and ABB drives. Mr. Irwin.
Yeah, so the ABB drives are HVAC equipment that came out of the high school when we did some of those renovations. We held on to those, not knowing if they might be of use to us in the other buildings in their systems, and at this point, they're not. So Arnold feels like at this point, we're safe to go ahead and surplus those items and see if we can't get something for them. And then the ice flaker machine is a holdover from the Steinsville building, and we've held on to it to see if it was something that would be of use to us, and at this point, it's not, so they're ready to move on with it as well.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions?
I appreciate the caution, not throwing it out before we knew for sure that we didn't need it, but sounds like it's time for them to move on.
Right, very good. Okay, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durnall?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
And Mr. Kerr is yes as well. Now it is consideration to approve the True Green agreement. Again, Mr. Irwin?
Yeah, so this is routine maintenance of our sports fields. It's not only to fertilize the fields, but continue and to limit the weed growth or stop weed growth or spread. It's obviously well below the threshold of what requires board approval, but because it comes with that agreement, that's why it's coming to you tonight. But this is something that we've been doing for the last couple of years. True Green's done a good job as far as taking care of our sports fields in this way, in this partnership, and so Arnold wants to get this in place now so that we're ready to go here in a few weeks as spring is hopefully soon to arrive.
Okay.
Move approval of the True Green agreement.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments?
I just, I can tell as much as I walk the dogs out around the fields, especially the soccer field, they just look much better than they had in the past. So I think they're doing a good job for us.
Okay, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durnall?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
And Mr. Kerr is yes as well. Now it's consideration to approve an addendum to the voice systems agreement. Mr. Irwin?
Yeah, so this was something that Boyce brought to us. We had actually had you guys approve an updated agreement with Boyce back in August of 2023. This is just an addendum that allows us to make the renewals a little cleaner. I know we've done some of this stuff with other agreements, but this was actually something they brought forward, trying to reduce some of the constant paperwork that we see. It does not change our rights to term the agreement. Christine had a chance to look it over, felt good with what was there, but it does just simplify the amount of paperwork that comes through each year. Again, Boyce, we use CompuTrol voice systems for our accounting software.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? Okay, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durno?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis, yes, as well. Moving on to approve the Johnson Controls Controller Repair Agreement. Mr. Owen?
Yeah, another one that was well below the threshold, but again, it was something that came with an agreement. So that's why it's before you tonight. We did go ahead and move forward with it as far as prior to the agreement tonight, just for emergency purposes. This controller is one of the kind of the main hubs that controls the high school, so we needed to get that moving. Johnson Controls has been able to help us as far as getting a temp controller in. We did have to run for at least a few days where we were just manually doing settings, which didn't make things the most comfortable in some of the areas of the high school. So I appreciate the high school staff and Dirk giving us a little grace there. And so we've got that back in working order, but hopefully we'll have the new one back to us. This does come with a 2-year warranty, which is part of the reason that they wanted to put the agreement with it. Christine had a chance to look over the terms and conditions of it and able to get some of the same stuff put in place the last time we did our performance service agreement with them as well. So with that, I'm asking for your approval.
I move approval of the JCI controller repair agreement.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Sir?
Hey, Mr. Irwin, that is something we're taking a deep dive into this every year, right? Taking a close look at it?
Yeah, we need to, we continue to develop a long-term plan. There's a number of our controllers that the software systems need to continue to be updated, and in order for that to happen, we need to update those controllers. Those are pretty expensive items, and so we're just I'm working with Johnson Controls to get a better listing of the controllers we have, what model they are, the software that they're on, all these different pieces, so that we can put together a more larger in scope replacement plan, rather than trying to do one off and pick one off here and pick one off there. I want it to be more intentional with what we're doing, so that we're not making a mistake and then, a couple years later thinking, we shouldn't have done that, we should have done something different. So that's something that we're asking them to help put together, so that we can figure out some more long-term solutions while we do that.
Thank you.
Anything further? Okay, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durno?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis, yes, as well. The agreement is approved. Now consideration to approve an updated natural gas supply agreement with Constellation.
Yeah, I wish I would have had this one to you I think it was about almost 2 months ago, when we did some of those other rate agreements. So we went through all of that stuff. They wanted us to update the agreements. Constellation actually bought out Pro Alliance Energy, which is what the original agreement was for with our gas supply back in 2004. So now they wanted to update the agreement to show that they're who we're actually working with. It also reflects the rider that's in place that shows our different accounts, and ones that are on the rate 225 and the rate 245, which what those are, it simply means what we're eligible for based on our consumptions in the building as far as what we use in gas. And so we had just moved EJHS over to a rate 245, which allowed us to, again, we had done that a couple months ago. That was going to save us a couple $1,000 just based on our energy usage over the past year. So this is just an updated agreement of essentially similar to what we just did a couple months ago, but it shows that it's actually with Constellation.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? I will say, Christine, thank you so much for the hard work of Ferguson Law to review all this stuff. Christine and Ferguson Law, we have any issues at all, they are so fast to respond to us, and so we really, really appreciate you guys.
She makes things a lot easier, and also it's nice sometimes to be able to just get out of her way and let her work her magic, get it done, and I can step back and know that it's good to go.
Very good, very good. Okay, anything further? Okay, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durno?
Yes.
Mr. DeMoss?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis, yes, as well. Next, and our last action item tonight is to consider the consideration to approve the crop lease agreement. Dr. Sanders.
Yes, so this agreement is renewed on the 1st of November every year, but with the upcoming construction project, it was determined that we would need to revise the crop lease agreement because the new preschool will take up approximately 6 acres of the land that's farmed, a little over 6.05, I believe it was, which now includes, that was expanded a little bit because we were talking with the surveyor, and there's an area of land that where the waterfall will go, and so it won't be farmable. And then there'll be a temporary change, another 1.5 acres, that will be the staging area for the construction project. So, well, I don't know, Matt, will that eventually be farmable? Or?
Yeah, it'll come back,
Yeah.
he bales that front area, it's in that front area before where that tree line is that we talked about, wanting to get rid of that as far as to have the viewability of the school, and so we were able to provide Naylor with an overlay of the actual aerial of it so he could see exactly where it's at and what that actually takes up. And then that way we know as far as going out and staking it out, and he'll know where exactly he can plant crops and all of that stuff. So it actually worked out nice. Bill Rigger did a nice job helping us out as far as providing something with an overlay on a map of that area that provided Scott a very detailed overview of what exactly is going to be taken up out of that.
So Scott Naylor, Naylor Farms will be leasing the farmland, which is part is just at the end of Sycamore Street. There's a section there, and then the rest of it is next to the primary school. And they'll be leasing the farmland at $190 per acre. And the agreement that I sent out Friday, or Thursday or Friday, had 59 acres, but with that added information we received today, it's now 58, and so I revised it. That's what you have before you tonight, so recommend your approval.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? We've worked with Naylor for a long time. They've
Yeah,
they're
Scott
good
Naylor,
people.
yeah. He's met with us several times. He's been really helpful meeting like with surveyors and with the construction and identifying key aspects of the land that we need to understand better. And so he's been really helpful.
Really appreciate that relationship.
Mr. Kane would be very proud of our use of that ground. He had us, it was his idea to buy that ground, so he'd be very proud of that.
Yeah.
Mr. Tucker?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing that Mr. Durham said. That was probably back in 02, 01, and he had some foresight back then. But I wanted to thank Mr. Naylor for cleaning up his contract with us and Ferguson Law, because that needed to be done for a while. I'm glad it's taken care of now.
Awesome. Anything further? Okay, Mrs. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Durham?
Yes.
Mr. Demas?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
And Mr. Burris, yes, as well. Motion passes. Okay, now we're to the superintendent's report. If Matt didn't take
So
too much of your thunder.
did you want to make note that we're removing item 7?
Yeah, do we have to?
Oh, yeah, that we're deleting item 17 due to discussions going on. They may not need the
Okay.
House, so, yeah, so we're just deleting that. Sorry,
Okay.
should have mentioned that. Okay.
All right, I want to do a quick demo if we could. Jennifer spoke about our website where the community could go on and buy products that our students make in the junior high and design labs and the ILC. But there's another added product that we could look at here on our website, and that's donations. And several years ago, I saw this idea with another organization where people could go online to that organization's website and donate, and it was so easy. And so that was kind of the vision we've had for a few years, and here we are. So you can go to each school, and there's a list of items under each school that the community can donate to. Can you go to school district there? So under the school district link, there's where somebody can donate to a transportation fee for one high school student. They could provide support to a student, a $50 support, cover a student's lunch for an entire semester. That'd be $486, or sponsor one student to go to Bradford Woods for $165. Just click on the Bradford Wood one. So it's very easy. Just click on donate now.
Put in your financial information.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my credit card information here. But it's just real easy to do, where they can enter in a very secure way, enter their credit card information and give to any one of those areas. It just makes it nice for our community because they're able to see the needs that we have. It's very easy to do. So we're just looking forward to growing this. One of our favorite parts of a board meeting is donations. And that's so exciting for our community and our school system to be working together. So I just wanted to show you that tonight. I just think it's pretty cool. And then really just want to share some important upcoming dates. You'll see under number 2 of my report the various assessments and the windows for those assessments that will take place, the WIDA assessment's taking place now, but we'll have assessments from now until the end of the school year with iRead, iLearn, and SAT, and then PSAT will be next fall. And then we're getting ready here for our Edgewood Early Childhood Center to open up their enrollment window, which will open up on March 1st, right at 10 a.m. And probably within 20, 30 minutes, it'll probably be full. And that's why we need that building back there in the back. And there'll be an open house for prospective families on, I think I have the wrong date there. Is it February? It is February 26th? Okay. February 26th from 4 to 5:30. And Heather, I'm going to tell you this now. I would like to be there, and maybe some other key people, one sitting in the back there, to talk about, I want to do a better job. I was at actually a high school conference when all of a sudden it occurred to me about an idea involving the preschool, that we need to really be talking to our preschool parents about all the great things that we've talked about tonight and the great opportunities. So we want to have a more presence in front of our preschool parents to tell the story of what goes on in Edgewood schools. And then Kindergarten Welcome Week, that's another very important time. They just do it so well at the EPS with the Welcome Week. Parents just compliment the process and the staff there at EPS so much. It's a pleasure to go up there because as I'm walking through and talking to these new parents, they're just bragging about what a nice process it is. But they'll be able to schedule an enrollment session from March 25th to the 29th, where the teachers will meet with their students, and then there'll be a time with parents. And then there'll be a guided tour on March 28th from 5:45 to 7 o'clock p.m. So EPS, they have the market on how well to welcome new kindergarten students and their families to our school corporation. And then finally, wanted to give you probably more information than you want, but our enrollment data. And I kind of just for my own sake, I go back to when I started as superintendent. But you can see from fall of 2018 till spring of 2024, our enrollment at every grade level, every school. And so the fall is where we take our ADM count and submit that to the state. And then we have a second one, we call it spring, but it's actually February, where we, once again, send those updated enrollment numbers to the state, and then that impacts the funding that we get from the state of Indiana. And on the back, I just wanted to show you a graph that shows that we are, since fall of 2018, we are on a upward trend. And we had a high point in the fall of 2019 of 2,664 students. But what happened right after that? COVID. And we're still recovering from that in a lot of different ways. Our schools are working super hard to help our students who missed out on so much important instructional time. We're working hard to get those students and families back. So that's why I highlighted part of that in red to show you the impact of COVID. And then you'll see another drop in between fall of 22 and spring of 23, where we started to notice that we had quite a few students, especially at the high school level, who learned from COVID about doing school online. And we noticed that it became an option for students. And we felt like mainly those students who were struggling, because we kind of saw it, and Dirk, he can correct me, but we kind of saw it in the second semester. And I believe it's my interpretation is we have students who were just struggling to a certain point where they just didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel, and so they were looking for options like homeschool and online options. But the high school's been working super hard at revising and revamping our alternative ed program, utilizing the EDGE, and it's really becoming a lot more student-centered, where they're having these conversations about students who are maybe contemplating going to online, and talk to them about options that they have through the EDGE. And we still have students who choose that option, and that's fine. But I think we're keeping a lot more than we did before, and that's in their best interest to do that. So I just want to give kudos to Mr. Ackerman and Mr. Key and Mrs. Dirk for their hard work on that. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you. Now we have RBBEA comments, and Mr. Yules is here with us tonight.
That was a lot to digest. No small part to Jennifer, of course, as well. That's all right. First of all, I want to not forget about reflecting about Lori Stevens as well. I think I've known her most of her career at her oldest daughter Maggie in class, and then Jake and Katie with tennis. So congratulations to her as she finishes out. Geez, oh Pete, Jennifer's talking about all the things that were going on with the schools today. I remind me, every building has their different focuses, whether it's discipline or other things, and we had Bill Reed, who was, I won't bore you with the stuff, but for a math teacher, he had an amazing amount of material and things for us in terms of SAT, because that is a focus we have to deal with. It was good, and I feel like everything I heard tonight, it was a reminder that admin have a ton on their plate, and we're working on the front lines teaching our kids every day, but as long as I think both sides are communicating and having input, I think that builds buy-in, whether it's the teacher evaluation process. We appreciate that. Looking forward to meeting next week on that. I think that's the main thing, is also have good communication. I feel like it's always improved. Went to a lobby day last Tuesday at the State House. I think Larry was up there as well, along with many people. Got to meet Shelley Yoder, our senator, and my rep Dave Hall. And that's always an ongoing thing. We're going to have to press for public ed support, even though in our non-budget years, but we'll keep fighting the good fight on that. I appreciate everything everybody does. That's all I got tonight. 3 weeks till spring break, just put that out there.
Does Brandy want to say anything?
All right. Thank you so much. And now board member comments. And so we'll start with Mr. Jacobs.
Wow, what a meeting. It really makes you super thankful. I mean, I'm super thankful for being in this seat, being able to see everything that's being accomplished. And, you know, having a senior that's graduating this year, everything that has built her up to this moment is awesome. I mean, I feel so blessed that she was with this corporation. So very, very cool things. I love it, love it. Donations, you know, being able to do that is amazing because, you know, I have people that will, you know, in the community will call and say, do you know what they need? Do you know that? So I love that because now I can give them an area, this is where you need to go, because they just don't know what, where, how can they help, or, you know, do it anonymously. That's a lot of it. And when we get these donations in, it does so much for our students, and we just really appreciate it. So thank you, and thank you to everyone for everything you do for us.
Mr. DeMoss.
I want to thank the folks for their donations. I want to congratulate the winter sports teams. Good luck to Coach Wadsworth as he goes into this sectional next week. Special mention to Gary Sims and the girls, and as I understand, there were only 2 teams in the state that had a better improvement from last year to this year, and that's just outstanding. Congratulations to the JAG program and their winners. Congratulations to Abigail, she was terrific. Congratulations to the robotics team. John O'Reilly's, he's an exceptional teacher, and I'm so happy to see that. My first robotics competition experience, I was the announcer, and I didn't know what I was announcing, but it was interesting. It was a lot of fun. Figured it out on the fly, and I did indeed go along with some RBB folks to lobby the General Assembly, and also the week before that, I was there with the School Boards Association, and I feel a little better than I have in past years about what's going on this year. I think the next budget session may be a big challenge, so I think everybody needs to be aware of what comes up then. But anyway, it's just, gosh, it's great to be a Mustang. So.
Mr. Earl.
Thank you. Well, you know you're getting old when you remember people talking about something that happened a long time ago and you were there.
Yeah.
So, you know, the JAG and the robotics team, and, you know, that's fantastic. I remember when Angie Young ones was in it. It was fun to watch then. So the high reliability conference was fantastic, especially for me. That teaching in school has always kind of been my pet, I guess, so to say. And I was able to find out a lot of things at the sessions I was able to attend. One thing that concerned me was, and this was uniform throughout the conference, that 97% of our teachers feel a unsecure or a safety issue. So I took that to mean my safety, but I don't think that's quite everything they meant. But I really enjoyed hearing the opinions of the people, and it was really a great conference. Thank you for allowing me to go. So,
Mr. Tucker.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, thanks very much. Sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight, but special thanks to Rick Routon. It took us going back and forth with text message about 35, 40 minutes. So thanks for our fantastic technology director. helping me get through this tonight. And congrats to Miss Stevens. What a nice career and well-deserved retirement. So I wish her the best, and appreciate the presentation from the JAG Robotics and from Miss Anderson as well. So take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Well, kudos to what everybody else has said. Go last.
It's kind of hard to go last.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, you were talking earlier about how much professional technology, technological and scientific teaching is now. And I think what is great and what sets our teachers apart is the art of getting that to the student. And so we really appreciate that. We appreciate administration helping them along the way. And so just, as I said, so proud to be a Mustang. And so thank you all for coming this evening. And this meeting's adjourned. Have a good night.